head back to our chief reporter, Kaveh Solokol, who's got the latest. So look, Kaveh, we're going to start with Chelsea and Sterling because we knew Chelsea were going to be perhaps the busiest in these last few days anyway. They've done exactly that. What's the latest? What's this deal looking like from Chelsea to Arsenal?
Well, I think it's almost done. It's very, very close to being agreed. We have spies everywhere around the football world, and somebody near Arsenal's training ground just in the last few minutes told us that they believe that Raheem Sterling had arrived at Arsenal's training ground. Of course, that would seem to suggest that it's almost a done deal. We also know for a fact that in the last couple of hours, Raheem Sterling's representatives and his lawyers had entered the talks with Arsenal as well. So this is a move that the player really, really wants. He's almost gone from being zero to a hero. He's gone 2 weeks ago from being a guy who was taken to one side after a training session at Chelsea and told by the head coach that he had no future at the club anymore, to 2 weeks later being told by Mikel Arteta, one of the best managers in the business at one of the biggest clubs in Europe, Arsenal, I want you to come and help Arsenal win the title again, help Arsenal in the Champions League again. So I think this is a dream move for Raheem Sterling, and I think we've got to be fair to him. You know, Chelsea fans, I think, have to be fair to him. This was not a move that he asked for. It's not him jumping ship from one London club to another. It was one club telling him, we don't want you here anymore. Now, the big question is, was it for football reasons or was it for financial reasons? Of course, when we've heard from Enzo Maresca, he's just said, look, it's a technical reason, it's a football reason. Raheem's a really good player, but he's not my kind of wide player. I'd rather have other people, other options, other signings as well. Or is it to do with finances? The fact that Raheem Sterling is one of the biggest earners, if not the biggest earner at Chelsea, 3 years left on his contract. Did Chelsea need to move him out for financial reasons? I don't know. I think there are two sides to the story. For what it's worth, I think it's a little bit vulgar in polite society to talk about people's wages. So let's just say probably it was for football reasons. Let's not talk about his wages. What he earns is his own business and nobody else's. OK. It is quite a lot of money, though. What's the situation with Reiss Nelson? Because we were hearing that he was going somewhere. Is that still on?
Last time I was speaking to you, Reiss Nelson advanced talks with Ipswich Town.
Absolutely.
It looked like it was going to be a done deal, a season-long loan. With about 5 minutes of the window to go, I got wind of the fact that Reiss Nelson actually wasn't going to be going to Ipswich Town. He's actually going to be going to Fulham. And Fulham have submitted a deal sheet just in time to get this deal over the line. So they've got another couple of hours. So they've got the necessary signatures that they needed on that deal sheet, including Reiss Nelson and one from each club. So Arsenal and Fulham now are working on a deal that will see Reiss Nelson move from Arsenal to Fulham on a season-long loan and not from Arsenal to Ipswich, which was all the money it was going to happen as recently as an hour ago. But it just shows how things can change so quickly in a transfer window. And I know the window is now closed, but now Reiss Nelson and his representatives are working, well, into the early hours now to make sure that this deal does get over the line and that he's a Fulham player for the rest of the season.
So some disappointment then for Ipswich, though, because as you told me only an hour ago, that it was looking good. It was moving forward, that deal.
Yeah, they were pretty confident that it was the direction of travel, that Reiss Nelson was going to go and join Ipswich, and it would have rounded off a fantastic transfer window for Ipswich. I think you can still say it has been a really good transfer window for Ipswich anyway. This would have just been the icing on the cake. I think they did really want to bring in a forward player on deadline day. There was talk of Armando Broja. And that one, I don't think in the end they decided to go for. They just couldn't agree on a reduction on that obligation fee after the initial deal had fallen through because of an issue with his medical. And so they focused on Reiss Nelson. And I think there was a great deal of confidence that this one was going to happen, but for whatever reason, Fulham have come in and he's decided that that's where he wants to go, and now Arsenal and Fulham will be negotiating to get that one over the line.
All right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Dharmesh. Or not. What have you got for us?
I think Sir Morrison will be buzzing. I think Crystal Palace fans will be absolutely buzzing. You've waited so long for me to bring you this transfer news this evening. Second deal done of deadline day. Eddie Nketiah is a Crystal Palace player. You have your striker. He signed a 5-year contract at the Eagles. He joins on what is an initial £25 million deal from Arsenal. It could rise to £30 million with add-ons. As I say, a 5-year contract. He wanted first team minutes. He's 25 years of age. That's what he needs at this stage of his career. Nottingham Forest tried, Marseille tried, but he'll be playing his football this season at Selhurst Park. He's absolutely delighted to be a Crystal Palace player. Remember, Matt Turner, Trevor Challah, they could still be signed in the final few minutes of this transfer window. Maxence Lacroix, he's already joined as a Crystal Palace player. Mark Gay, he remains, the captain stays. This is looking like a really good deadline day for Crystal Palace.
Thank you very much, James.
And a man who has worn the shirt at Crystal Palace, the striker himself, is applauding. I think that tells us everything.
Nah, it's a good signing. Nketiah is a good signing. Listen, he'll find it hard to get in at the moment, but he's still at a good age. He scores goals. Mateta's done a fantastic job. They might lose Edward, sorry. There's been talk of him maybe going to Leicester. He might go now, but Nketiah is a really good signing. I know Palace and Dougie Freedman's been a big admirer of him for many years, and he scores goals. I think when you've got people like Eze and Kamada that can give you chances, I think Nketiah is a good sign. It's been a good win.
Yeah, at the bottom of the screen here, just saying Mikel Merino out for a couple of weeks. He just signed. Pictures of him in his Arsenal kit when he was a kid and now signed, joining Mikel Arteta at the Emirates Stadium, and then injured in training.
Yeah, he collided with Gabriel in training. It sounds as though Gabriel had fallen on him and he's got a shoulder injury, which is so frustrating for Arsenal. They had a similar situation last year when Jurrien Timber joined, looked class, injured, out for many months. They didn't really get him until the end of the season, and they're getting ready to really enjoy him this season. Real shame with him, because midfield is where they wanted to have that depth and that quality, which he would have brought. Be interesting to see when he's back.
I'm purposefully not asking you this question because last week many people said that they would struggle against Aston Villa. Some people on this very couch made a prediction, a 2-0 prediction, but for Aston Villa. So how much of a statement was that for them to go there and to win? To have this save from David Raya, who actually, this is Trossard coming off the bench. Not sure what he has to do to get a start, but how big of a statement, how big of a show of improvement?
Just before they answer, can I just say that had Ollie Watkins taken his opportunities, it could easily have been 2-0. What a time to have an off day. Ollie, I'm watching you.
Honestly, I was wondering how long before you were going to jump in and defend yourself. That was a big result for them.
Yeah, and that was a key moment in the game. Every game has a key moment or turning points. the double save obviously kept them in it, and then Arsenal do what they do best. The other end, they were clinical. Good finishes from both players, and you need your keeper, as Nathan said, to produce and step up at times, and he's done that, and they've gone and won and kept a clean sheet. So good day all round, but a massive statement to everyone, because Aston Villa on top form, Ollie Watkins on another day would score.
Yeah.
But unfortunately he didn't. I'm saying unfortunately because I'm a Villa fan. But Arsenal went away and got the job done, very professional.
Yeah, Arsenal winning their first 2 games of the season. So too have Brighton so far. We weren't really sure what to expect from Fabian Hurtzler. They have been very impressive.
Yeah, they have. I think some people were quite down on them in their predictions because, you know, how could a 31-year-old manager be able to be successful? But, you know, he's getting a tune out of those players for sure. I think this win against United. The game did feel quite level, to be honest, but still you need to take your opportunities, and, you know, he wants to play football the right way for them. He's getting their wingers very much involved. And they're having these big... Lewis, don't get down. Give yourself a stretch, my boy. But it's good to see that they're still continuing in that vein. I think at times De Zerbi was chaotic, but he's still attacking. And they're attacking in a slightly different way. But, as I say, fair play to them, because not many people thought they'd be where they are currently.
I love that video. Every time you watch it, there's more chaos that unfolds. Joao Veltman grabs the corner flag. And I actually spoke to him this week, and he said that having a manager who is 31 years old, you'd think for many people he's older, including 6 others of his teammates. You'd think it would be a problem, but actually he's finding he has more in common with the manager off the field, so that's leading to better conversations and a better sense of camaraderie. That's interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting, and it shows a lot about the depth. He doesn't have a managerial record that is anywhere near comparable to anyone else in the Premier League. But what he does have is a charisma about him, good ideas, the ability to connect and communicate that can immediately switch players on. That's all about good man management. And the fact that he's inspired the players in the manner that he has does bode well for a club that does love to produce players and sell them on for big money. It might well be that someone comes in a couple of years down the line with big money for him.
Transfer deadline day is a big one, so we have the big guns. It's a full house tonight. So we Darren Lewis, our resident expert. Zesh Riemann, welcome back for the first time this season. Same for Neto. I'm going to start with the two in the middle because Darren and I don't have a story for transfer deadline day. We have not personally moved on transfer deadline day. Does anyone have a story on or around?
I have a story around it, and it's not necessarily to do with a move that happened. That's the downside. So this was in 2012, I was at Manchester City, but I'd been told in pre-season that I needed to go somewhere else. Not in a polite way, but told I need to go somewhere else. So I spent most of that window looking for places to go, and it got to the final day, and I thought, I'm definitely going to move here. So I packed up all my stuff into the bin bag, shook everyone's hand at the training ground. Thank you very much, guys, for everything. You know, I wish you all the best. And then I sat in my house and watched as every other name was being called out to move somewhere. The window closed. I was still there. But we had training the next day. So to walk back in with the same bin bag full of boots, be like, hey, everyone, good to see you again. I'm here till January. That's my story, unfortunately.
That's the worst way to start.
I know.
That is so sad.
Listen, it gets like that. I did move in the next window, but yeah, that was it's a particularly awkward time for me, that one, yeah.
I'm here for you, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
That's kind of brutal, man. That's kind of brutal.
Listen,
wow.
I was young, I was naive, and I shouldn't have said goodbye without knowing that I was actually leaving, so such is life.
Giving us a bit of insight into what players like Raheem Sterling, Jadon Sancho, and Ivan Toney would have been going through, because those are the players, the names that have dominated transfer deadline day. But one move that has been secured is Aaron Ramsdale. He's gone from Arsenal to Southampton. Just tell me your thoughts on the deal, especially because we're going to show a little bit of a video. We all love a transfer unveiling video. Yes.
Yeah.
Before we get your thoughts on it, Darren, for context, Aaron Ramsdale was at the EFL Championship playoff final in a Hagrid outfit in the Southampton, among the Southampton supporters, and today they unveiled him at Southampton in his Hagrid kit.
It's terrific context, and Harry Potter couldn't have worked his magic anyway to actually set the seal on his transfer. He's done it at the right time. He's 26 years of age. He's wasted a couple of years, if I'm honest, at Arsenal, because he signed a new contract believing he was going to be the future, and then David Raya came in, who has proved himself to be utterly capable. But so too is Ramsdale. I think had he been playing regular first-team football, it might have been him and not Jordan Pickford, who kept goal for England at the European Championship. I still think that he can put himself now into the World Cup picture with regular first-team football. They've got a few injuries at Southampton, so he comes in and will go in at the weekend and will keep goal, you would imagine, as their first choice for this season. A fantastic, super pair of hands. The key thing, and you guys are both being defenders, so you will know better than me, they will benefit from the fact that he won't feel under pressure in every performance like he did at Arsenal, because he knew that Raya was breathing down his neck. He maybe took decisions he wouldn't otherwise have taken, and I think this might be a chance for him to relax, build a relationship with that back four.
Zesh, I want to ask you about Sancho, because we've mentioned that he's one of the names that have dominated. It's been such an interesting story, the fallout with the manager, then back in the club, and now possibly moving.
Yeah, I mean, football, you've got to be where you're happy and feel good. So obviously, everyone knows about the fallout. He's gone back to Dortmund, amazing comeback. He's full of confidence and he wants to play. So he needs to find a home where he can show himself, be himself, express himself, and get back to that form that got him that. I think it was £73 million move in the first place. So it's not always easy to find a place where you're happy, but he needs it at this stage of his career, I think.
I interviewed him last season, and it's exactly what he said. I want to be happy. I don't make friends very easily, so I want to go somewhere where I can settle. The key to getting the best out of him at Chelsea is playing him regularly. Help him to enjoy his football. If he does that, he'll be terrific.
Getting on, we're going to a huge game at the Emirates next as Arsenal kick off the weekend against Brighton. Both clubs won their opening 2 games of the season.
Suggestion on social media that Nketiah has picked up some kind of shoulder injury.
Yes, very unfortunate. Yesterday he had a collision and he's got a shoulder injury, unfortunately, and it looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, first session with us, yeah.
That's really bad luck, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it was really exciting. We're all very excited. Everything was looking very good, and he landed on the floor. Gabby went on top of him, and it looks like he's got a small fracture, probably.
Wow. When you say weeks,
well, we have to see. He was in so much pain. We have to wait and see with SAF to do some more tests on that, and they would have probably more conclusive answers.
I was going to ask you whether or not you were excited by deadline day, but I guess after news like that, you're not going to be excited.
This is football. You know, overall, we have tried to do all the things that we wanted. There was a lot to do. Still a few hours to go, and nothing, and we are prepared.
So in our wildest dreams, there might be something before the end of today?
Let's see, it's always possible, and the last 24 hours in the transfer window, never rule anything.
In our wildest dreams, Raheem Sterling?
Now you know that I cannot talk about any player.
Because you spoke last week about your admiration for him and vice versa, how you work well together.
Yeah.
Sounds like Chelsea are offering him around. Has he been offered to Arsenal?
No, and I'm not going to be talking about this kind of thing, sorry.
Okay, well one deal we know that has gone through, that's Aaron's gone to Southampton. Just your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, say thank you so much for what he's done for the club, for the team, for myself. So when he joined, he brought a lot of joy, he brought his charisma, his energy, and he was really good at that time. Obviously, things developed, and he had a situation that it was difficult for him, and he was insisting a lot that he is very happy when he plays, and we have tried to fulfill that desire that he had. He looked really excited and happy the other day, and he's joining a great club, a great coach. He looks really excited, so I think we are all happy for him.
And I know that Neto, the Bournemouth goalkeeper at the moment, is in the building, is in the training ground because I saw him arrive. So I know you don't like talking about other teams' players, but that would be someone to come in and be a number 2, I guess.
Well, it's clear that obviously we have lost Carl as a third goalkeeper, and then we lost Aaron, so we have to replace them both.
So Neto in the building having a medical, I guess?
Sorry?
He's having a medical at the moment, isn't he?
We have to replace Aaron, and we have to replace Carl.
And what about Alex?
What about you?
Am I tall enough?
If you are agile and mobile enough and you have the courage, that's right.
I think I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Okay, Sarah from the Premier League. Fresh injury aside, getting in Mourinho and Calafiori and having improved in that left-hand side, do you think that will assist in getting the best out of Martinelli?
Well, hopefully, obviously, everything is very connected in order to, especially the wingers, the front players, to shine and to be in positions with advantages against the defender, which is the most difficult thing to do in football. You need players behind you that they give you that opportunity and put you in those situations as often as possible. And we have brought 2 players that are exceptional at doing that.
Can we expect some of the squad players like Ranieri to play more and have some of an impact this season, some of the youngsters coming up?
It will depend. Certainly they have earned now the respect and admiration of all the team, and they've done it in pre-season, and now they're going to have to earn the right to play, but they have the same chances as anybody else.
And your players have spoken about how important the meticulous analysis you do of the opponent team is for your match days. What have you made of Brighton's perfect start ahead of your match day tomorrow?
Well, we try to prepare like every manager, every team does, giving them the exact information and the relevant information that can really help us and give us value to win the game. And we have tried to do the same for tomorrow against a team that is doing really well. It's one of the games with the new coach, with the new coaching regime, and it's going to be a tough match.
Thank you.
Josh?
Hi, Miguel.
Hi.
It started with 2 clean sheets so far. How pleased are you with the way that the team are defending from the front as well, all over the pitch, the way they're working?
Yeah, that's been a big strength of us, the commitment and the implication of every player in every ball, in every single action. And then yeah, in those 2 games, it's true that we haven't given much away, but the ones that we have given, they were pretty clear, and our goalkeeper has made 2 big saves to keep those clean sheets. So there are certainly things to improve, but I think obviously the commitment of the team in that front is superb.
And it's an early kick-off tomorrow. In those games especially, is it important to set the tone early, to be on the front foot?
Yeah, we always want to do, and we play at home as well, and get our supporters going and create a special atmosphere, and we know how important is that kind of energy.
Is that from BBC?
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you, if you don't do any more business, would you be happy with the squad, and do you think you can achieve your aims without any more business?
I'm always happy with the squad. I think we have tremendous players, a magnificent group of human beings, and we always want to be better, and we cannot deny that. The most important thing is to try to improve our own players, and then, yeah, in terms of the numbers and the quality, can we improve in the squad? Yeah, for sure, there are margins.
Raheem Sterling has completed a deadline day loan move to Arsenal. Fabrizio Romano has just confirmed. The winger was quite unexpectedly cast out of Chelsea's first-team group following a pre-season where he had been with them in the USA, and the last week has seen the club and players scrambling to find him a new home. Once Enzo Maresca had made it abundantly clear the former Man City man was going to get no minutes if he stayed. Chelsea managed to get Sterling off their books, yet somehow ended up signing Jadon Sancho right at the death anyway, somewhat defeating the point of moving on Sterling. If the former England star was going to get no minutes, what is Sancho going to get? Chelsea managed to get Sterling off their books, yet somehow ended up signing Jadon Sancho right at the death anyway, somewhat defeating the point of moving on Sterling. If the former England star was going to get no minutes, what is Sancho going to get? Sterling's move to Chelsea can only be seen as a major disappointment, given we paid big money for him, and he was the best paid player at the club. We weren't in love with the deal to begin with. What convinced us it might just work is that he felt like a player Thomas Tuchel really wanted, and was potentially coming into a team that functioned really well and just needed a player like Sterling, who had a track record of producing goals and assists from wide areas. Sadly, as we all know, Tuchel lasted just a few weeks into that season, and since then it's been a period of utter chaos, with Sterling unable to impress much in that time. At Arsenal, where things are nicely set up and clicking, he could well get back to his best, although he faces a big ask breaking into Arteta's first team. Still, it's only a loan, so we could well have him back at the club in a year's time, although we doubt he will be training with the first team then either. Mikel Arteta has paid tribute to Eddie Nketiah after he joined Crystal Palace from Arsenal on transfer deadline day. Nketiah was pushing for a move away from Arsenal this summer after struggling for minutes last season. Palace emerged as the leading contender to sign the striker and completed a deal worth $30 million late on deadline day. Nketiah spent almost a decade at the Emirates Stadium, scoring 38 goals in 168 appearances. We are so grateful to Eddie for his performances with us, Arteta said of the 25-year-old's departure. He's a player who has developed well through our academy, and now he takes this opportunity with Crystal Palace. Eddie is a top professional, loved by everyone at the club, who wanted and needed to play more minutes. We wish Eddie well as he moves on to his next challenge. Arsenal sporting director Edu added, Eddie has had a great journey from our academy into our first team, and we send him our thanks and best wishes as he moves to Crystal Palace. It is important for Eddie to be playing regular first-team football, and we are happy we have concluded a very positive transfer deal for his move. Eddie has a lot of friends here after many years at the club, and we wish him good luck in his next step. Nketiah grew up in Deptford, southeast London, and said he was excited to begin his Crystal Palace career. It's amazing to sign for Crystal Palace. I'm excited to get going, he said. Every time I come back to South London, it always puts a smile on my face, so it's good to be back home. Palace chairman Steve Parish added, it's brilliant to welcome Eddie, a senior England international, back to South London. We are delighted he is signed for Crystal Palace. I am confident that his energy, talent, and hunger to succeed will endear him to his new teammates and supporters alike. Arsenal have signed Bournemouth goalkeeper Neto on loan to offer backup to current number 1 David Raya. It comes after Southampton completed the $25 million signing of Aaron Ramsdale, with Mikel Arteta's side subsequently failing in their talks to sign Joan Garcia from Espanyol. Arsenal had also been unprepared to meet Espanyol's $16 million valuation for Garcia. Neto joined Bournemouth in 2022 from Barcelona, having spent time playing at Valencia, Juventus, and Fiorentina before then. Following his arrival, Neto has stepped up to become Bournemouth's first-choice goalkeeper, with Andoni Iraola handing him the captain's armband last season, with the goalkeeper making 32 league appearances, amassing 7 clean sheets. Meanwhile, Arsenal are pushing to sign Raheem Sterling on loan from Chelsea. Sterling is looking for an escape route out of Stamford Bridge, as Enzo Maresca has no intentions to play the English winger this season. Neto's exit comes after Bournemouth signed Kepa Arrizabalaga on loan from Chelsea. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has said that new signing Mikel Merino will be out of action for a few weeks after suffering a shoulder injury during his first training session with the club. Merino, a $33 million arrival from Real Sociedad in Spain, had been hoping to make his Gunners' debut against Brighton on Saturday. However, he will now have to wait until late September or early October following an accidental training ground clash with Arsenal defender Gabriel. Yes, very unfortunate, Arteta told reporters on Friday. Yesterday, he had a collision and he's got a shoulder injury, unfortunately. It looks like he's going to be out for a few weeks. First session with us. It was looking exciting. We were all very excited. Everything was looking very good. He landed on the floor and Gabby went on top of him. It looks like he's got a small fracture probably. We will have to see how long he will be out. He was in so much pain. We have to wait to do some more tests. Then we will have more conclusive answers. This is football. Merino's injury is a big blow for Arsenal, who are still without Brazilian striker Gabriel Jesus, Scottish left-back Kieran Tierney, and Japan defender Takahiro Tomiyasu. Arteta also spoke about Aaron Ramsdale during Friday's press conference. Goalkeeper Ramsdale has left the Emirates to join Southampton, and Arteta said, "Thank you so much for what he's done for the club, for the team, and for myself." Piers Morgan has labeled Arsenal's decision to sell Eddie Nketiah as very odd as the Gunners' striker edges nearer to joining Crystal Palace in a $30 million move. Mikel Arteta has given the green light for Nketiah to make a deadline day switch to Palace as the England star seeks out more regular playing time in the Premier League. His expected departure means Arsenal will be losing a key squad striker without a backup in place, as Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus share the duties of being the team's main striker. The remaining duo have questionable injury records, and if either has to miss matches, then Arsenal will be left scrambling to find someone to deputize up front. That is the concern for Arsenal obsessive Morgan, who has questioned the club's ambitions to win the Premier League title this season. Posting on X, Morgan posted Arsenal selling Nketiah without signing any new forward seems very, very odd if we want to win the league. The Gunners have been active in the summer transfer window, but have largely focused on defensive reinforcements with Ricardo Calafiori and Mikel Merino both joining. Late interest in Raheem Sterling remains ongoing, with the Chelsea star told he doesn't have a future at the club under new head coach Enzo Maresca. Nketiah's impending exit could free up space for Sterling to make the switch across London, but a deal isn't close to being complete as the clock races towards the transfer market being closed. Meanwhile, Arsenal are hoping to go one better than the past 2 seasons by winning the Premier League after twice finishing runners-up. Chelsea forward Raheem Sterling has arrived at Arsenal's training ground as all parties work to finalize a season-long loan deal. The 29-year-old attacker is set to spend this season campaign at the Emirates Stadium, having been told he has no future at Stamford Bridge under new head coach Enzo Maresca. Sterling joined Chelsea from Manchester City in 2022 for a £47.5 million fee and has made